Hey YouTube, today I'm doing my best impression of King Kong, as today we're taking a look at the LEGO Architecture Empire State Building model. Hey guys, and welcome to Brick Talk TV. Terry here, and in today's episode we're taking another look at the LEGO Architecture range. We recently looked at the Statue of Liberty, which I put in Bricktown, and I'll put a link here and in the description below if you're interested in watching that. But back to today's episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the Architecture Empire State Building set. So this set here, that's set number 21046. The set's been available since 2019 and retails for £89.99. Although you can still find some deals for this, and I've managed to pick this one up for around £65 at the time of recording. This set consists of 1,767 parts and they're spread over 5 sets of bags. As you'd expect, the build experience starts with the base of the building. You begin building the sidewalks and the New York taxi cabs around the base of the building before you start building up the wider base area with the windows, before building more of a taller core aspect, before covering the taller parts with some windows, plates and grills to give you that appearance of some windows. And finally, you finish off the build by building the antennae area at the top of the building. So let's flip over now and we'll take a look at closer detail of the actual build itself. Right, so here's the actual building itself, and as you can see, it's quite an impressive build for the architecture range. It really is a really tall piece here, and it really kind of stands out and commands some presence on any way you display this. And I'll probably end up displaying mine, I think, in a guest bedroom where I've got a bit of a New York theme going on in terms of the pictures in there. So I think it's really going to look nice put on the side and displaying that. So as I mentioned, you start building up from the base here, and as you can see, there's some yellow taxi cabs here, and there's some white areas here which are depicting where people would cross the sidewalks of the roads that are surrounding the Empire State Building. There is, of course, as it's an architecture piece, there is the nameplate at the front here, and you can see Empire State Building printed in black and white there on the front. When you start building up, you obviously build this base plate to start with, so you start building the roads and the taxi cabs. But then you also start moving through to building the bottom layer of the building, and actually the bottom layer has lots of transparent pieces, and those are depicting shop windows because there is actually a store in the bottom. On either side, here you have actually the entrances that go into the main lobby of the building, and there are internally here there are some escalators or some elevators that they put in here using some angled grille pieces in some metallic silver, but you can't actually see them now that the building's built, and I did wonder at the time whether it was actually worth putting them in, but they do have a little fact sheet part there where they tell you why they've put the escalators in there as well. Then as you move up, you start building the main core that runs through here up to about this level to start with, and then in a couple of bags you start building this surround area that slots in. So these two pieces here are separate pieces that clip in, and then you actually then for the last few bags you start building the main trunk, which is lots of side-studded pieces that go right up to the top here. And then what you actually do is these window pieces that stick on the side are actually plates and grills, which actually clip into place. So they cover the actual main core that runs through the top of this building. Then as you build up, you build these two separate pieces here separately to give this sort of indented area. And then you start adding the detail of this area at the top, which is where the viewing deck would be if you're ever getting to the top of the Empire State Building, if you're lucky enough to get to the top. And then the interesting build at the end, really, to finish it off, is you start building this antennae at the top. And so you've got some metallic pieces here that form the main structure going up, or the sort of main connectors. And then you add various pieces here just to give that antennae. And in the book, it tells you some more detail around what's at the top here. So you've got things like the lightning rods for any lightning strikes. There's also mobile masts. It was actually the first place they broadcast TV, I believe, from in New York, because it's the tallest area that could get the most coverage in the region. So, as I've mentioned, the book is full of lots of little facts about this building. And even though I visited it a few years ago, it was nice to remind myself of those facts because I wasn't totally aware of it. So the build experience, is a really interesting one. It's probably, for me, not quite as interesting as the Statue of Liberty if I was to compare the two, because the Statue of Liberty has much more external detail and a lot more variety. So you're building the toga in different colours, and there's different ways that the book and the arms come together in the Statue of Liberty model. And as you can tell from this model, it is interesting to get the different indentations of the building. But as you can see, there's lots of grille pieces on here, and I'm sure a lot of other people have reviewed this before. I've commented on maybe a little repetitive that it is to get these grille pieces put into position. But I did it on a live stream as well. So if you're interested on seeing how the build experience unfolds, I'll stick a card up here and a link in the description below, so you can click through and you can skip through how the build of this actually comes along. But it was getting a little monotonous, I must admit, in terms of putting the windows on. But I'm really pleased with the final appearance of this, and I think it's quite a striking model. And I'll be looking forward to putting it into my house. And I'll be interested also to purchase more architecture models in the future. I'll be looking at the Eiffel Tower shortly, but maybe I'll do the Arc de Triomphe and maybe some other ones. And if you've got any recommendations for good architecture models that have got some variety and some interest, do stick them in the comments below, because I'll be interested to get your views on some good ones for me to purchase, even if they've been retired. I can get secondhand just to build up, so that'd be interesting. So overall, I enjoyed the build of this model and I'm really pleased with the finished model. Yes, the windows are a little repetitive, but I did enjoy the way the structure came together, and I think that the final look of this building is impressive enough to stick on the side, and I'm sure some people that visit the house will be commenting on that in the future. It's not only impressive aesthetically in terms of its look, but I also think it's really impressive physically in terms of the space that this model commands, and it really will be a nice showpiece to put on display, and I'm sure that it will catch people's eye as they come through. And having visited the Empire State Building, I appreciate the build even more. It does have a higher price, of course, of $89.99, but if you're clever and you can find this piece on sale, which it is quite regularly, then you can probably make quite a good saving, and it'll probably bring the price of the cost per piece down considerably. And as I mentioned, I think if you visited this building in real life, then I think rebuilding this will bring back memories of your original visit, and you'll enjoy it even more. So I probably won't be putting this into Bricktown, as I mentioned, but it will be going instead probably in the guest bedroom or in another location in my house, just because I think it's probably wouldn't be quite right to put this one into Bricktown, whereas I think the Statue of Liberty I can get away with in terms of the scale to minifig scale, but this one would be too off. Do check that live stream out, as I mentioned as well, if you're interested to see how this all sort of comes together in real life. If you're interested to see what experience you can get before you purchase it. And again, the link is in the description below. And I hope that you found this quick walkthrough and review helpful if you're considering whether to buy it or not. If you did, do hit that like button, hit the subscribe button with the bell notification turned on as well, because we'll be doing future architecture range videos on this channel as well, so you'll be alerted of those. And until next time, stay safe and I'll see you then.